to educate, motivate, and build one another through shared knowledge and success. This is Young and Successful, and these are your hosts, Jay Chukwi, Kenny Awashika, and PJ Luminan.
Welcome back to the Young and Successful podcast. Our guest today is Moyosore Fatukun. Moyosore is an attorney and international development practitioner with experience in corporate legal practice. She's also has project experience in the international development field. Moyosore is a graduate of Harvard Law School and George Washington University. As an advocate for women and girls, Moyosore has hands-on experience in gender development and has provided consultancy services to some development organizations in the United States. She is currently Chief Executive Officer of Movard and Banks Consulting Limited. Welcome to the show, Moyosore.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us. It really means a lot.
Thank you.
For you to take the time to just hang out and chit chat with us. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Oga Kenny, I would let you go ahead and let's kick this off.
Hey, again, thanks for joining us on the call. We really appreciate it. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what we do at Young and Successful, but it's really good to have you on the show. One of the things that we're trying to do actually on our show is to encourage and show people out there that success is not some distance thing that people can accomplish, that you can basically accomplish it on your day-to-day life. And, we want to see more women taking leadership role. So we've been seeking women, and we are, again, glad that you're on the show so that we're not just interviewing a bunch of men. And, so that's a quick summary. So I will just go straight into our first question here. Which is, can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you end up being the guy at the top?
Thank you, Kenny. I must say that is some form of balance. I like it when you interview both men and women. That is good. You must keep that up. Yeah. So I actually don't know where to start my story from, but I can just say that growing up, I'm one of the not few, I think a lot of people have the same privilege as I did growing up. Like, you have parents interested in your education, parents who would sponsor you to any length. My parents really were interested in my education. And of course, being the last born, I was very active. I love to read, I love to jump around and do a lot of fun stuff. So they were always ready, to sponsor my education and to, support me, at every point. So I did go to a public secondary school, I must say that, but I didn't really care. I did.
What?
And the school, the school is called St. Louis Girls Grammar School in Akure, to be precise. Well, I wanted to go to a federal girls school, but my mom was like, no, she needed me to be close to home.
Wasn't that like an all-girls school?
Yes, it is. It is.
No.
And
you know why? Almost like classmates.
Right, because my mom went to that same school, but in a different state. So she needed someone to go to the same school as she did, parents. So rather than allow me go to Federal Government Girls College in Accra, she was like, no, you have to go to St. Louis Girls Grammar School. And I was like, okay, I was so young, I couldn't make any decisions myself. So I had to go to the school. Fortunately, the school did mold me, I would say. The school did mold me. And, I had a lot of interesting classmates, driven classmates who were, always ready to study and come first. And I was so ready to come first too, as well. So more like I had some classmates who were in competition with me or who I was in competition with. I didn't care. Then I was so young. So everything we had in our brains was compete to come, first in class. And fortunately for me, it did work out because I had my WAEC as the first try. I cleared all my, courses. I had I think 7 distinctions and about 2 credits. So it wasn't difficult for me to get into the university, and I wrote JAMB once. So in my house, I was like a star, Say that again.
I said that's just coming out of St. Louis Grammar School in Akure.
Right.
Goodness,
And then,
goodness.
writing jam then was like a big deal. Like many people did write jam twice, thrice, but I
Yeah.
wrote jam once. I sat for the National Examination Council exam, which is called NECO, if I'm correct. I wrote NECO when I was in my SS2. That's the penultimate year, you know, and I cleared all my courses. So I was so ready to go to the university. Fortunately, when it was time to go to the university, my dad was like, "Oh, you have to go to OAU," because I did go to OAU. And for me, I was interested in going to Unilag. But of course, my parents made a decision for me. My mom was like, "Unilag, if you go to Unilag, you're going to be too exposed. You're going to learn a lot of bad stuff. But I think it's good for you to go to OAU." That was how I ended up attending OAU.
Oh, wow.
But before I attended OAU, I was going to be at home for like a year or about 9 months before resumption. And then my dad was like, rather than stay at home for 9 months, why don't you try out the pre-degree program? So I tried out the pre-degree program. I wrote the entrance examination. I passed, and I started the pre-degree journey. And eventually, I also came out excellent, and I got my admission into Obafemi Awolowo University, where I studied law. So studying law, the whole long journey of 5 years, getting into law school 1 whole year. And then afterwards, I came into the US to study for my master's program, which is called LLM at Harvard University. And when I finished the program, I went back to Nigeria and practiced law
I was
for
getting into Harvard because everybody want to go
so
to Harvard.
that's
Yes.
that's another story. That's another story which I do love to share. And like I told you, Kenny, I'm going to be speaking at a workshop soon. Sometime in August, I'll be talking to a group of girls, and it's
Yeah,
really going to be about how I got into Harvard and what have you.
yeah.
So getting into Harvard, as I can say, the journey started when I was in that pre-degree program that I just talked about. So
Which was before you even started your
before
5 year program.
OAU, yes.
So you've
So let me
actually
tell you
knew in your head
something.
that you were going to Harvard.
Yes, let me tell you something about.
Was it your dad's and your
Dang.
mom's doing, or is it something
No,
that
it
you
wasn't
really
anybody's
wanted?
idea. It was my own idea. It was my
Okay.
idea. And let me tell you how that started. So when I told you I went to a public secondary school,
Yeah.
and while I got the right education at the public secondary school, speaking English was so difficult.
Yeah.
Like I could barely speak English. That's the truth. When I tell people today, they look at me like you are not serious. That's not true. I could
Yeah,
barely
I'm
speak
shocked
English.
right now.
So
Yeah.
so when I got to the pre-degree program, of course, I met a lot of girls from, the popular schools in Lagos, the popular schools in Abuja, and then everybody was always, oh, spring, speaking different kinds of, speaking different versions of the Queen's English and what have you. And then I would just look at them like, hmm. So I was unable to chat with them, I was unable to have conversations with them. And you know what I did? I just told myself one day, rather than feel bad about myself, rather than feel bad about my inability to, mix up with these ones, chat with them, discuss with them, I would channel that energy into my studies. Rather than, sit in my bed, thinking, getting worried, I would go into the library, study, and come out top of my class. So if I'm not known for being able to speak good English, I should be known for being an excellent student. And that was what I did. And eventually, when we finished the pre-degree program, a young lady from some secondary school in Abuja came first. I came second. Then my best friend then came third. So
Wow.
I was very happy.
That's
When we
quite.
got to, yeah, so when we got to Obafemi Awolowo University, this friend of mine that came third while we were at the pre-degree program, we became friends automatically. And she started leading the class in OAU, clearing all the courses, getting A's. And of course, I was also getting my A's. So we were like, two good
It's like
friends.
competition.
And one day we just
A
told each
team.
other that, yeah, we made a team. And
Yeah.
then we just told each other that, what, when we are done with this law program and then we are done with law school, we would go for a master's program. And guess what? We are not going to go to any regular school. We will be going to an Ivy League, and it has to be the best university in the world.
Oh wow.
That was how both of us made up our minds. We struggled through OAU, and both of us came out with first class. And it wasn't difficult for us to scale through Nigerian law school, even though that was like hell. Law
Yeah,
school
it
was
is.
hell for
I
both of
heard.
us, but We also did
Yeah.
well, and eventually we both found ourselves in Harvard Law School. So
Hey,
that's one good journey for both of us.
yeah, that's
So
what you
with
call determination and
I
surrounding
know that
yourself
is,
with good
I
people.
mean,
Right,
that is
right.
just absolute, intellect to the highest level, if you will, right? I
All
love
thanks
it.
to God, though.
Hey, he comes first, right? So
Right, well.
Harvard and George Washington, did you go to George Washington right after that, or how did that
No,
happen?
no. So after Harvard Law School, I went back to Nigeria because I was so young. I didn't know anything. I didn't know, the opportunities that maybe, available to me here in the US, but I had to go back home. And on getting back home, I got a job with an organization, but I wasn't really fulfilled in that organization. So I had to go back to a law firm. My mom said that prior to going to Harvard, I did my National Youth Service program, you know, at a law firm where I worked for about 18 months.
Mm.
And from there to Harvard, and from Harvard, I went back to Nigeria, joined an organization for a few months, and eventually I went back to a law firm where I practiced, law in the oil and gas department. And after that, I felt the need for me to do more. Like, I'm not someone who can, I don't see myself having just one career path. Like, I feel like I should be everywhere, but I can't be everywhere. But that actually motivated me to come into the US for the International Development Program, and of course, I chose George Washington University because it's one of the schools that
Another one of the
it has the
best, by the
best.
way.
No, I think George Washington has the
Mm-hmm.
best international development program in the US,
It
so
does.
that's why I
It
chose it and I
does.
Ah,
got in. And of course,
incredible school.
Kenny is instrumental to that.
Oh, that
Remember,
was
you
just a
gave me
graduate
some
from
form of
George Washington.
recommendation. Yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Now, let me before you continue here, I just want to, for those who do not know, right?
Okay.
What is international development?
Okay. So, my own understanding,
Mhm.
international development for me is about, identifying some global issue that is dear
Mhm.
to your heart. In my own case, gender issues, women's rights, those things are very dear to my heart. So it's really about identify what are the common problems in this area and how do you find a long-lasting solution to them. So it's really not about finding long-lasting solution to these problems, but identifying what the source of the problem is. Why is this problem happening? Why is it that women are not, taking leadership positions in the boardroom? Why is it that there are a lot of women out there, suffering domestic violence? Why is it that women are not taking leadership positions? Why? We need to know the underlying reasons, the underlying reasons, and how do we provide solutions to them. So that is what international development is for me. So it's really not about just one location, one locality, maybe some part of Nigeria, another Nigeria. No, it's really a global thing. So that's why I call it international. So development
Okay.
on an international scale.
The issue at hand that you took on was women's experience
Right.
in I guess growth, if you will. Okay,
Right. That's it. Yes.
gotcha.
This is all amazing because I just want to interject really quickly.
Okay.
Just a quick summary as to how we got to where we are now.
Yeah.
So number one, your parents kickstart. Maybe I think having this is teaching me to be a better parent because sometimes I'm a little bit too focused on business because your parents were very involved in your life at a very young age. And being the last born, does seeing your older sibling push you harder to be like super smarter? Because you still like you don't play around. If I'm not posted
No,
second, I'm not here.
no,
And
I
I
don't
did
play
get that
around.
vibe as well. She has to be on the front row. She's a winner.
I don't play
That's for
around.
sure.
Honestly, and that's still one of the things still keeping me to date. Like, I don't play around. Like, I have so many goals that I feel like I need to achieve in life, and God willing, I'm still going to achieve a lot of them
Amen.
before I die. Yes.
Totally.
So
Sure
my
will.
parents were, amen. So my parents were really involved, and to date, they're still involved. Although my dad is late, but my mom is
Oh,
still very much involved. She's always asking me, "So what's going on? So what's next? What's happening?"
yeah.
So for my siblings, I saw the way my parents pushed them. Like, oh my parents, I'm Yoruba, so the way Yoruba parents are, they sing to you, not like they insult you, but they sing, those kind of Nigerian songs that will push you to study hard, that
Yeah.
will push you to become better. So I watched my mom do a lot of that, including my dad. Like, they would tell my siblings, if you don't study hard I will send you to, there's one school called St. Peter's Secondary School in Nigeria. That's like a school where
Yeah.
they tell you students don't wear sandals. You go to school not with a backpack, but with a plastic
A
bag.
bag.
And what
Yeah.
I so my parents would say, that's the school you go to if you don't study hard, or if you feel you will become a tailor or you become a driver or something like that. So I never wanted my parents to say that to me. I never wanted it. So it was very easy for me to, sit tight, to study, and also to be someone who is determined and very focused. So that's what it is like for me. And then my father, like, would always check our results at the end of the term. If you have any bad grade, he would say, "Oh, why did this happen? Next time, make sure you do well." Though my parents would never buy you any gifts for coming first in class. They would never buy you any gifts, but
That's
they would
different.
definitely, they would always push you. At some point, I felt like, okay, when I finished with the first class from OAU, I was like, okay, maybe my parents would buy me a brand new iPhone, or they would do something fantastic. There was nothing.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
You're just
Rather,
supposed to
they
come
just
back
told
home with a
me
good grade.
this is the starting point. You need to do better. You can do more. You can do this. You can do that. So for me, I think and my parents, did well for me. They did well for me, though they never got me the material things.
Well, I think that it just that also just teaches you to want to do stuff for yourself, right? Not always
Right.
expecting something back in return for. Because I think for me, ultimately, there was kind of a point. I don't know what brought me to the realization where it was like, hey, well, if I'm doing something, if I'm pushing to achieve whatever, at some point I have to be okay with no one saying that good job, even, right? Because it is something that where my parents never really said that to me. And it's like mentally you have to prepare yourself to be like, hey, this is great. I'm happy about this. I wish they'll be happy about it with me. But the reality is it's probably not going to happen. Um,
Right.
and I think the good side of that is that eventually you learn to be content with the things you do and really do
Right.
things for yourself. Would you agree with that?
I do agree, and honestly, it's that's one of the things that made me not to rely on people validating me or validating what I do. So this generation where everybody wants someone to say, "Oh, you're doing well,"
I
or "I like
know.
that," where
Yeah.
everybody you want 1 million likes on the video. I don't care, honestly. I really don't care. What I care about is, okay, I'm impacting lives. The message is getting out there. I have a lot of things to share with people. I have a lot of knowledge to share with people. And the point is that I'm getting the knowledge out. Sooner or later, somebody who knows the information, whether it's one person or two people, someday they will come across the message and they will run with it. So
Yep.
that's
I
it for
think
Absolutely.
me.
I
that's
think
exactly what we're trying to do here as
absolutely.
well.
Right.
Yeah. I think the value that you provide and the sense of accomplishment that you get from that value you provide is the biggest compliment that there is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I look at that. So for you, I mean, obviously your parents kind of push you to go to school, but you stayed in the legal realm, right? Is that
Right.
something that you were actually interested in it, or did you have other interests that you wanted to go after?
To be honest, as a child, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Unlike some kids that would say, "Oh, when I grow up, I want to be a pilot. I want to be this. I want to be a dad." I wanted to be everything. Today, I could tell you I want to be a doctor. Tomorrow, I will tell you I want to be a teacher. I remember at some point I told my mom I wanted to be a teacher because she's an educationist, and she looked at me funny like, teacher bao. So, I mean,
Oh man.
to me, I really didn't care. I felt like whatever it is that I, decided to
You
do,
do,
I
you'll
will
be
do well
successful at
at
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but my parents, of course, did tell me, "Oh, you can actually study law. You can go to art class. You can do well since you love to read novels, you love to write, you love to talk." Because I talk to myself a lot in front of the mirror. My mom would say, "Okay, maybe you should be a lawyer, and then you can talk." So I think that was how I went into law. Like, no much interest in being a lawyer as such.
So
So
good.
So,
one of the things that we've noticed from our conversations and from mentoring people is that we sometimes run into a lot of women, actually, a lot more women than men, that do not know what to do with their career or do with their life at a very young age. They just don't know what they want to do. How would you, given your field and what you do now,
mhm.
how would you motivate or direct them towards a goal that will be more satisfying for them? How can they discover themselves? How can they find that one thing that is best for them?
Okay, so Kenny, this is what I would say. It doesn't matter what age you discover yourself or what you
Yeah,
want to do. It
yeah,
can be when you clock 30 or 40 or 50,
yeah,
even some people 60.
yeah,
See, like the Yoruba people would say, when you wake up is your own morning. If
yeah,
you wake up 6 a.m., that is 6 p.m., that is your morning. If you
yeah,
wake up 12 midnight, that is your morning. If you wake up 2 p.m., that is your morning.
yeah,
The thing is, for so many of us, even I am still discovering myself. I can't
yeah,
say I have found myself or
yeah,
found what my purpose is exactly. Like we
yeah,
are just, it's a journey. So you
yeah,
keep discovering. It's like the layers of an onion bulb. Like you keep
yeah,
discovering yourself, you keep discovering what you're capable of and where your interest lies eventually. So I don't want anybody to put any pressure on themselves, like, oh, my friend, she's 20 years old, she already has a company, she's
Yeah.
already running a shoe business, she knows what she wants to do. I'm
yeah.
here at 35, I don't know what I want to do. No, don't put any pressure on yourself. It's a
Mm,
process, it's a journey.
yeah,
Eventually, you will discover yourself. And there was something someone said to me a while back. The person said, whatever it is that keeps you up late in the night, whatsoever it is that interests you when you read about it or when you hear about it, that
mm,
might be an indication as to, maybe the line you should to. It might be
yeah,
something you should begin to think about. So for me, like I earlier said, there was not much, I didn't have 100% interest in being an attorney or a lawyer or solicitor, whatever. I just felt like, okay, I can get into any field and I'm going to do well. But as time, went by, I started reading a lot of books. I started reading a lot of news articles. I started seeing a lot of things about women not being in the political sphere, women not holding leadership position. And I'm someone who is easily motivated when I see women. When I see women holding positions, my,
Mm.
my brain tilts in another direction. So I just thought to myself, like, okay, there's something I can actually do. Maybe I'm called to, motivate women, to groom girls, to groom women, even women older than myself. And I just told myself I can actually go study international development, see what it is in it for me, what knowledge I can pick from there. And then whatever knowledge I garner from international development as it relates to gender development, women's rights, and what have you, I can actually make do with that and run with it, just start something with it. So that actually led to, me starting up my YouTube channel, to be precise. The YouTube channel is actually, I wanted it to be about grooming the girl child or grooming women, but sometimes different things come to your mind and you just want to talk about it. But it's really about, helping women, helping girls. And same thing with the company that I started. I just felt like a lot of girls want to do something better for themselves. They want to go to school, they want to go to Ivy League institutions, but they just feel like, oh, these things are really for boys. It's only boys that go to Ivy Leagues. It's only boys that have master's
mm,
degree. It's only boys that have PhD. But girls can do it too. So I'm going to be using my life as an example, my story as an example. And I also, even for people who don't see me as an example, I mean, when I talk to them, when I put out videos, when I write a book, eventually they're going to read it and they're going to learn from my story. So you can discover yourself anytime, no pressures. But one other thing that I
I'm going
have
to
to say
send
is that
I'm going to send Kike to you once you start having questions for that.
that's fine. And then I have to say something very important. So for me, I'm a Christian and I believe in my faith and I believe in God.
Yeah.
So I won't lie to you. Recently, like in the past couple of years, my journey with God improved. I started hearing from God, I started, I have a better communication with God, so I hear from Him. And
Yeah,
sometimes I get directions.
that's good.
I get directions from Him. So that's, I can say, is one of the major, reasons why I'm in this field right
Doing
now,
what you're doing, yeah,
why I'm doing what I'm doing, and why I'm going to forge ahead. That's the honest truth.
yeah,
So whatever you
Absolutely.
believe in, continue with it and don't feel pressured to have it all together at this time.
yeah.
That's
So,
it
so
for me.
in this case, you probably will not be like your parents, where you must be something, either a lawyer, or a doctor, or an engineer. You're gonna be more of the person that says, you know what, do that. That kind of gets you going, that keeps you up late at night.
So for me, I'm gonna be a little bit like my parents. I will support you. And if I see that you have an interest in a particular field, or you like to do something, maybe you love to play football. I love to have a footballer as a son. I will definitely encourage you. Yes, I'm going to start with the toys I buy for you. Definitely, you get a football.
Absolutely.
I would definitely encourage you. And as you grow, I will allow you to definitely make your decisions.
Yeah.
But my role as a parent will be to help you, guide you, give you information, give you the right education, which is key. And of course, pray for you.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now,
Mhm.
something interesting you said earlier about being in the legal field where you felt unfulfilled, but at this point in time, you came back, you went to uh, you went
Yeah, she has converged into
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, you went back to school and then you came back again, but you're still in the legal field, right?
Right.
So for you right now, what is it that excites you the most about what you do?
Okay. Just to say something quickly, I
Yes.
didn't say I wasn't fulfilled in law practice. I'm still an attorney. I practice every day, even though I'm
Okay.
currently not working in law firm. But
Right.
it's something. I
Well,
learned a lot.
I think you were more saying like when you finished Harvard and you went back to
Yes.
Nigeria in that law
Yes.
firm where you do not feel fulfilled
Yeah.
in what you were
No.
doing there.
No. No.
So
No. It was.
yeah,
It, that's a
exactly.
story for another day. Working in law firms in Nigeria is a story for another day. What is fulfilling for me, what I currently do is this. I proud to start in this company. A lot of people would send me messages on LinkedIn saying, "Hey Moyo, I want to go to this Ivy League. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I don't have the right qualifications. I feel like they just basically feel they are not good enough and they don't know how to go about it." So what I used to do back then was, okay, I just tell them, don't worry, you are good enough. Provided you have your undergrad, you have good grades.
Mhm.
Even if you don't have the very good grades, at least you have something that can bring you into a good school. That's fine. And then I try to tell them, to be confident in who they are. Self-confidence is key. If you're not confident in yourself, you might find it very difficult to go find life. So I do more of encouraging people and also helping them to put in the application, review the application documents, and basically counseling people. So I just thought to myself, like, people reach out to me often to do this for them. So why don't you just make it a business?
Absolutely.
You know? So apart from the monetary gain that I would definitely, get from there, it's really about helping people to become better in life. I love to talk to people. I love to encourage people to be confident in who they are, what they have, and where they can actually get to later in life. Because I realize that a lot of people have like it's not really obvious. They won't tell you that they are not confident. They won't tell you that they don't believe in themselves, but you can actually see it from the way they do things, from the way they talk, from the
do
kind
you
of
talk do you talk to Nigerians or you talk to African Americans? Do you talk to Americans during your coaching sessions? Because I would
so
say the traditional Nigerian culture kind of makes you that way.
yes.
Mm.
So for now, I talk to a lot of Nigerians, but recently I've been talking to I won't say a lot of African Americans, but I've in the past few months I've spoken to some African Americans,
That's
and
great.
when I talk, they look at me like, "Really, you're from Africa and you talk like this?" And I'm like, you just have to pick yourself up, like because so many people still believe in somebody telling them this is what you are good, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you are good, you are beautiful. You don't need to wait for people to tell you that. I always tell my husband, you don't need to tell me that I'm beautiful before I know I'm beautiful. I see myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I look at
Mm.
myself. Yes,
Tell
and
me
I love to
about it.
take pictures. I take a
That's
lot of
how.
pictures, and I'm not afraid to post my pictures anywhere, because I know what I carry. I know who I am. So many people don't have that confidence. So I feel like it's part of my responsibilities. It's part of my purpose on earth to help people, get their confidence out, channel your inner confidence, your inner Michelle Obama.
Step into your
Yes.
greatness is how I like to say
Right. Step into your
it.
greatness.
Yeah,
Become
So
who God has made you to be.
hey, listen, man. I think most of the time, I think because I'm someone that I've suffered from like self-doubt, and it's something that kind of goes back and forth. But there was a period in time where I went through this phase where I think it's when I started working out, And I kept pushing myself, and I saw that I can reach certain levels of certain things. And I started feeling the exact same way you're describing. When you wake up, you're the first person to tell yourself that you're the greatest, right?
Right.
Because after that, it's whatever. Because the reality is, most of the time, whatever you're telling yourself, other people are scared of those same things within themselves. And
Correct.
if you can tell yourself, right, that you're great, it gives you a step up every time when you
Yes.
step out
And you
there.
know
It
the
just puts
thing,
you,
the way
yeah,
you see, that's why I love my culture. Yoruba people would say the way you, or that the way you dress or the way you address yourself is the way people address you.
yeah,
See, this period where social media is just everywhere, everybody's on social media. The way you describe yourself,
right,
people will begin to see you in that light. So if you
yeah,
put your picture up on your WhatsApp status and say, I'm phenomenal, I'm a great woman, I love my values, I'm beautiful, I'm great, people will begin to see you in that light. It will be hard for people to come to you to tell you you're ugly or you're not
yeah,
smart. No, it will be hard because it begins to ring a bell in their brains that, okay, this girl knows who she is, she knows what she's worth. They begin to address you that way. So that's one thing people need to know.
Yeah.
there you
See,
go.
Yeah.
the,
Step
the
into your
success
greatness.
package is not
Yes.
all about money, right? It's
Nah,
also
it's not
about
Nah,
just
the
about
grace that
money.
you carry
Yeah.
yourself.
Yes.
yeah,
The
Right?
way
it's
you
a
carry
whole
Super
lot.
yourself.
rich and just be terrible about yourself.
Absolutely.
Because if you constantly put yourself down and say, "Oh, I'm so, I'm not intelligent, I'm not smart," you're always looking mournful, you're always looking sad, you're not inspiring in any way. That's how people are going to perceive you, and that's the way
Yeah.
they will talk about you. That's what they will say
Abs-
about you. So you need
Absolutely.
to put yourself out there as, what you want yourself to be, what you expect your future to look like. You begin to say to yourself
Yeah.
boldly and confidently,
Yeah.
whatever you say about yourself is what you will become.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
So throughout your journey so far, right? Whether it's your
mhm.
educational journey or your career and your entrepreneurship journey, what would you say has been the most challenging part for you?
Okay. Without sounding arrogant, I would say in terms of my academic career, I can't say I had any
But
single
I
challenge.
was not expecting
Yeah.
you to be the academic one, but I just had to include
She's
it
a
there
beast when
because
it comes to that
listen,
one.
look,
Right.
hey man, after she described the way she handled school, I was like, listen, I was,
Yeah.
yeah, but
But
I guess
yeah.
just in general, what would you say would be the whether it could even just be in life, right? What has been the most challenging part for you, and how did you overcome that? What sort of discipline and just mindset, right? The things that or I guess the things that you've learned over time that you had to channel together to get you through
Okay.
that
So
phase.
like, yeah, thank you. So like I earlier said, working in law firms in Nigeria is very draining. I'm
Right.
not gonna mince words about that. It's very draining. If you don't know who you are, if you are not strong, you might get robbed of your confidence easily because there are a lot of people who just walk into the office and I don't know, maybe they don't have the right training when it comes to being a leader or how to handle staff or how to handle subordinates. Some people
Mm.
will just talk carelessly. I mean, it's pretty draining. It's pretty draining. So if you don't know who you are, if you're not sure of who you are, you might find yourself um, losing your self confidence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you might get lost in the process. You might get lost in the process. So for me, I worked in a place where it was just so much of competition. Everybody wanted to be the boss's favorite. Everybody wanted to be on top. Everybody wanted to be promoted, very fast. Everybody wanted to get the best things. People don't care to put you down, even though you're friends. But I just told myself, no, this is not why I'm here. I'm here to learn, and irrespective of whatever anyone says about me, I just do my work and pick the lessons, pick the training, pick the technical training. And when it's right time for me to leave, I will bow out and leave. So for me, I was able to deduce that early that you need to get yourself together, you need to know who you are, and you need to be confident in your person. So that was how I was able to survive in some of those environments till I left. So, but generally in life, I would say life is really not a bed of roses, although we all pray, we speak positive things into our future, into our lives. But
Mhm.
life is like this.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have
sometimes
it this way and sometimes this
this.
way. So,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
when life throw you the lemons, you have to,
Make
as
Make
they
lemonade.
always say,
lemonade.
make the
Lemonade.
lemonade out of it. Yes. So if
Absolutely.
you ask me if I'm where I want to be today, I will tell you no, no, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm definitely not allowing anything to keep me down or push me down. Wherever I am, whatever I find to do, I do it well. And whatever talent or skill that I currently possess, I use it to the best of my ability to get what I want. So that's where I am in my life right now. And that's how I've been able to, survive every challenge that has come my way so far.
Awesome, awesome.
Awesome. Okay, Kenny.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're kind of getting towards the end of this interview right now. I kind of don't want it to end because we could talk about
I
this
know,
next
man. This
space
is really
that you're in.
exciting. I'm really,
Right.
I know.
But
I want to just keep rolling forever. Just
I
talking
know.
to you, just chatting with you. It's great.
Uh,
So,
Thank you.
I'm,
yeah.
I'm sure we would like to have you back. Now that you have your own business, and we can talk about how that is going. Because I think that is exactly more of what we want to see. We want to see more women in power, and we love what you're doing, which is going to create more people like you. At the end of the day, you basically multiplying, trying to do the old Moyo effect, where we're going to have several thousand Moyos out there kicking butts.
Yes.
um, but yeah. Quick definition. Can you give us a quick definition of what you define as success? And I think we know what your why is right now. I think we already know what your why is. But
Mm.
if you can explain to us, just a little bit more your
Your
definition,
definition of success.
yeah,
Success.
that'll be helpful.
Okay.
Yep.
For me, I would say success is when you do achieve goals you set for yourself. So you might be successful in one aspect and not be successful in other aspects. So I like to compartmentalize things.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be successful in your academics, and not be successful in your career or in your business, in other aspects of your marriage. So for me, setting goals is, and I'm not talking about, getting married, because so many people see getting married as
As a goal,
something
as
as
a
a goal. It's
success
not a goal for
definition.
me, or having kids, that's not a
Yeah.
goal. But I see
Is
things that you can actually set for yourself as a target, like, okay, I want to become an architect in the next 5 years. That is the goal for me. So when you achieve that goal, I would say in that regard, you are successful.
Mm-hmm.
Or you want to start a business, you want to be maybe a consultant, providing services in the areas of what have you. I can't find
Mm-hmm.
an example right now. You do set that goal, you start that business, and in the next
Mm-hmm.
5 years, you are where you want to be. Then I would say,
Mm-hmm.
in that regard, you are successful. So for me, it's not like a global, like it's not like an all-encompassing thing. Like in every aspect of your life, you say, "Oh, this is success." For me, success is setting goals and achieving it. That's my definition.
That's great.
just precise. I like that.
Mhm.
Yep, yep, yep.
That's yeah.
Um, hey, can you tell folks out there a little again what you do? You talk about your YouTube video, of course. Talk about your consulting business, and tell us the hashtags and all that good stuff, so that folks can
Absolutely. Where can we
reach
find
Thank
you?
out to
you.
you. And there are a lot of programs out there that are looking for women like you. And
Thank you.
put yourself out there, boss.
Okay. All right. As Kenny and Chase said, I have a YouTube channel called Monix TV. So on my channel, I talk about everything that has to do with life. That's the way I introduce the channel. Everything. So I talk about faith. I talk about lifestyle. I talk about so many things. So if you want to be motivated, if you want to get real life stories, because I share my personal stories, I just don't tell you, oh, do this and get this. I tell you things that are feasible, things that are workable, things that are achievable. So I tell you stories, how I started my life, the challenges, that I encountered, and how I was able to scale through different ordeals. So I share this kind of stories on my channel, and I try to encourage and motivate people. And then regarding my business, my company is called Movad and Banks Consulting Limited. And there are three core areas. We have three core practice areas. The first is admissions consulting. The second is research. And the third is training. So when it comes to admissions consulting, it's really about helping people who want to come to the United States or who want to go to Canada for advanced studies, but you don't know how to go about it. You're confused. You feel the process is too daunting. You don't even know how to go on Google to research about the school you want to go to. We at Movard and Banks, we are here to help you. We can, support you, go through your application documents with you. We are not going to definitely write your application materials for you. You have them, you work on them, but we'll definitely guide you, to put in a proper package before you submit for admissions. And then secondly, when it comes to research, like I earlier said, I'm into the international development space. So, and to be precise, in my work in the gender development aspects, and then I'm really more focused on women's rights, how to improve women's status in the society. So I do more of research, or we do more of research into that area. So women in leadership, women in the boardroom, putting an end to domestic violence, putting an end to child marriage. So we conduct research on those topics across different parts of the world. So if you do have that type of research, you want us to conduct monitoring and evaluation exercises for you, you don't have personnel, definitely you can come to us at Moved and Banks Consulting Limited. We help you with the research process. We develop survey instruments, we develop tools, monitoring and evaluation tools. We do all of that from scratch to finish. And then thirdly, training. So like I earlier said, our training is more about, helping people to develop self-confidence, and also career development. If you're concerned about how to grow in your career, you're experiencing challenges, maybe your boss is constantly on your neck saying, oh, you're not good, you don't know how to speak good English, you don't write well, you're not coordinated, you're not articulate, and you're just down and depressed. We can train you, we can help you, give you ideas on how to develop yourself, trainings to go for, the type of novels to read, the type of movies to watch, what to look out for, not just watching for entertainment purpose, but, how to, put yourself together, how to dress, how to speak to people in public. We do all these things. So if you need any of the services, again, admissions consulting, research and training, Moved and Banks Consulting Limited is the one-stop firm to visit.
Awesome. That
Amazing.
You were
Hey.
shutting it out, man.
She packs a
You
punch,
stay
man.
busy.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Ms. Moyosore Fatukun, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And I am subscribed to your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
I would also add her YouTube channel it's actually quite entertaining. I really like the driving
you.
video. It was pretty cool.
Thank you.
Maybe we can go up there someday and talk about crypto.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll roll up there and talk
That'll
about
be
some crypto.
interesting.
I'm down for that. I would totally.
Crypto and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we'll come in
Thank
there and
you.
talk about some crypto. Well, thank you for joining us. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. Chevron Brazen out.
Double O
Thank
out.
you for having me. Bye.
Thanks for having me.